Alright, this will be part 3 of What If Deku Was a Demon. I know I didn't post this for a while, but, I'm gonna continue that now, and that's what matters. Alright, so last time I left off after Deku unlocked his second form, and, fought the USJ, and that. And I will be starting off this one with, what's it called? I'm forgetting. Mina and Deku's date. So let's go with that. So Deku, he's basically wearing what's in this picture, pretty much. So yeah. So he's walking around and, he's going over to the area he agreed to meet Mina at. Just this nice ice cream place, And he's there and he's waiting for Mina out front. And she finally gets there, and greets him and everything. Like, hey Deku, how's your day going and all that. And, they're talking. I'm not going to go into super big detail. Dating isn't really, ships aren't the big point of my channel. They're there, but, not the number one priority, as I've stated. Anyways. So, Mina and Deku, they go into the store, talk a bit, and just have a really nice time. And, yeah. After they go and take a walk in the park, and, talk some more, and they just have a very nice time, and, then they just go home. Because, there's no real point for me explaining this more and more, because I'm not very good at it, and, So, yeah. Sorry if that's not what you were expecting, but I don't really do this specifically for shipping. It's not the main goal, alright? That being said, let's continue to the day after the date. So Deku had been training to control his form even more, since, he didn't want to have to pass out every time he fought something, because, that would suck. And I know it would. Like, if you fight and, you have extreme power, but you pass out after you win, that's bad. Anyways. So, Deku and, So Deku's been training, a crap ton, even more than his normal, which is way more than everyone else. I'm just saying. So Deku, he's going around and training all types of ways, specifically for his form, mostly. So Deku, he's going around and he's learning, more about it and what it can do. So yeah. So time skip a couple of days, and in class, at the end of class, right before it ends, Aizawa says, "Alright, everyone, you got 2 weeks to train, and then the UA Sports Festival is gonna happen, so be ready, And they're all excited as hell, and, so they're all, motivated to train, and, yeah. So, Deku, he's, already planning to train, so it's not really affecting him too much. But, yeah. So, let's just skip the 2 weeks. Deku and Mina went on another date, during this time. I'm not going to cover it. But, yeah. So, yeah. So, after the 2 weeks, Deku is like getting ready. It's the day before they're planning on it. And, the class just, the bell just rang so they can go home now. And, a bunch of students were, blocking the way, in between them and, leaving. And Deku, he isn't the first to leave class. Like, he usually gets up, after a minute, since, like, he isn't running around 24/7. Like, he just walks in his seats in the back of class. So he's just walking there, and they're blocking the way, trying to get a look at 1A, see their competition, or, something like along those lines for the most part, you know. And yeah. So Deku, he gets to the front door, and he hears some purple hair kid, lecturing the class about, how they think they're so great, just because they're 1A. And Deku, he's not having it. And he asks the purple hair boy, like, why would you even, like, care? Like, just beat them then. I dare you. Try. They're 1A for a reason. Shinso then says, and who the hell are you supposed to be? Deku, responds with, his name. And he's like, and Shinso smiles and says, gotcha. He says it to himself. And Deku says, speak up. And Shinso's like, what? Because, he was trying to use his quirk there. But, nope. Did not work. So it sucks for him. But yeah. So they're trying. Well, Deku. He beat him, and yeah. Well, he basically beat him in a psychological fight right there. Intimidating him. And then he walked out, and basically all the people moved out his way. Since Deku is pretty tall and intimidating. So yeah. Alright, time skip to the next day. So it's the UA Sports Festival, and Deku's getting ready for the first round. And he's like with everyone else, at the starting line. And they announced the event, obstacle course, And Deku, he switches. He's like getting ready to switch his form to his first one, speed one, that can use chains. And then they say go. Deku switches into his form immediately. He chains up the start with everyone in it for the most part, and then like starts sprinting off. And he clears it really fucking fast. Because like I've said, that form is built for speed. So he's running through to the first obstacle. He gets past the robots, and then he sees a gap, and he decides that since his other form has wings, use it. But actually no. He decides not to, since, he doesn't want to show off all his cards, since villains or other people he doesn't want to see his moves could be watching. So he keeps running, and he basically jumps, well, he basically runs across the ropes, or jumps between gaps, and gets over it. And now for the Minefield. By the way, people have just started getting out of the chains, because, like, Mina was able to melt it, and some people are just, like, small enough to run through it. Since Deku basically did it hastily, since he was more worried about, just slowing them down a little bit. As long as he isn't slowed down too much by making it. So yeah. He's like that. that's what his goal was. So people are just starting to approach the first obstacle, and Deku, he's he's already approaching the third one. So now he starts running even faster than before. At this point, he's running fast enough to run on top of the mine and have it explode behind him. Like, he's that fast at the moment. So yeah, he's running really fast, and he runs over the mines, and he's just running and running, not looking back. But there's explosions behind him, lots of them, and people are like cheering in the crowds, like, "Holy crap, that kid's fast! What's his quirk?" All that fun stuff, you know. And yeah, so that's what's going on. Deku crosses the finish line, and then yeah. So yeah. All right. So basically, second place Bakugo, second place Todoroki, third Bakugo, fourth Ida, fifth I don't know, someone else. It doesn't matter. So yeah. So on to the second round. Also, if I sound congested, that's my allergies. Sorry. You know. So on to the second round. Deku's like, alright, I know who I want to be on my team. So Deku, he basically just needs like three people, and he ends up picking out Mina, let's say Kirishima. Nah, Kirishima would have gone with Bakugo. Mina, I can't remember his name. Tail guy, you know who I'm talking about. And Mei Hatsume, you know. And this man's smart, so, he's just gonna be big brain. So yeah. He, basically, his team was made, and he's the rider. And he was smart enough to think of something genius. So yeah. Deku and his group, they're like waiting for it's time to start, since it's basically like they're already like, yeah, everyone's gonna go for us. They're gonna go for the 1,000,000 point headband. Like, Deku, when they announced that, not even flinched. And when people were trying to stare him down, he stared right back and scared pretty much all of them off. So yeah, Deku, he was like ready for that, and yeah. So yeah, Deku, he was like ready for this. He was ready. All right, and right when they said go, Deku made chains like all around them. They're just in a ball of chains, which is basically just solid metal, but it's like much stronger than metal. That's what Deku's chains are. It is very hard to do that, and they have a high ass melting point. Since Deku also has an affinity for fire and fire resistance, that kind of transfers over into the chains a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. So yeah, and everyone's like, what the fuck? And but Deku, he's able to hold the whole 15 minutes of this part of the exam or festival. He's able to do this the whole thing, the whole time, since it's only like 15 minutes anyways. So yeah, he ends up, just sitting there with his group since, they have 1,000,000 points already. They're first place. And a bunch of people were trying to get in. Like, Bakugo tried to explode it. Todoroki tried to melt it. Kaminari tried to shock him from outside, hoping it would lower the quirk. Didn't work. The chains, didn't absorb it like a crap ton. Since Deku, the chains, they have a little bit of adaptability. He can change them a little bit if he wants to. Like, if he wanted them to be good conductors, he could. But in this case, where he doesn't want, Kaminari to shock them, he doesn't, So, yeah. Anyways. So, Deku, he's good. Like, the rest of them, they're just having a nice conversation. And there's, they just basically asking a bunch of questions to Deku, too. About his quirk and everything. And, he's answering some of them. And, yeah. So, when they say time's up, the ball of chains around them disappears, and yeah. So they're all, Deku's just smiling. It's like, yep, I won that. And yeah. Alright. So now for the third round, the 1v1 fights. I'm gonna change up the matches a little bit. I'm not gonna, cover everyone's, just Deku's fights specifically. Because I just want to make a fight a couple different people. Basically just, keep a couple egos in check. So, Alright, first match. Deku versus Monuma. So, they go to the middle and shake hands. So, yeah. They go to the middle, shake hands, and Monuma then smirks, thinking he'd copied the quirk. But little does he know, it's not really a quirk per se. Because, when you think about it, it's really not a quirk. I'd call it more of an ability. So, yeah. So, Monoma tries to, use the quirk he just copied. He didn't copy one, though, so. And he's like, wait, why isn't it working? Deku just smirks and said, what? Don't tell me you thought that you could copy my quirk and use it right off the bat. Since he doesn't want people to know whether, his quote-unquote quirk could be stolen or copied or anything. Especially because he knows about All for One. Don't ask me how, he just does. But, yeah. And, Monoma's like, damn it. He's never really had too much trouble using quirk before. And, Deku then basically grabs him with his chains. He conjures them up and wraps them around him and then throws him out of bounds before Monoma can, try to use his quirk. More. So, yeah. Monoma, his ego has been put in check. Alright, that's one guy. Bakugo. Yeah, round two. Let's say Todoroki. And, yeah. Deku, he and Todoroki are basically staring down the middle, and then, Midnight says, go, fight. And, yeah. They, so they go, Deku basically just dodges to the left, before anyone knows why. And then Shoto's ice goes right where he was. And Deku's like, you're gonna need to be faster than that. You know, Deku then, keeps dodging for about a good 5 minutes. And Todoroki's got like frost, like a lot of frost on his body now. So yeah. Give me a sec. Alright, sorry about that. I had to blow my nose. Anyways. So yeah. So Deku, he's just blocking, not blocking, dodging Shoto's ice and then, breaking it with his chains, whipping them around. And, at this point, Shoto's pretty exhausted and his, body has a lot of frost on it now from him overusing his ice quirk without using the fire part of it. And, Deku's like, you gotta use your quirk if you want to even have a chance at beating me. Because this is clearly not going to work. I haven't even broken a sweat and you're clearly freezing yourself. And, using your quirk like this just means you're wasting your quirk. Deku says, he basically lectures him, like how regardless of what his quirk is, it's still his. And, he needs to use it properly. Because otherwise he's just wasting potential. And, Shoto's like, alright, okay. Deku talked some sense into him. Because, I honestly think it's a bit of a stretch to, like, Deku in canon, I think he could have put that together, but that's a little, it's a little hard to believe. But yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Deku, he's like, he's convinced Shoto to use his fire. And Shoto does then make a massive ice thing. And then, like, a lot of fire then as well. Like, both. And it basically creates explosion from him cooling the air and then burning it, like in canon. But Deku, he basically makes a ball of chains around himself again. And this time, instead of just, like, making the chains, like, basically evaporate or, like, fade away, he makes them shoot out before disappearing. So basically, people thought Deku was out, but nope. He survived, and he was fine. And Deku, he used the chains when he shot them out from the ball shape. One of them ended up hitting Shoto and knocking him out of the match and knocking him out. So yeah. Deku, he's like, alright, this is, pretty good, So yeah. Deku, he's like ready to go. And, he's ready. He's hyped up for the next fight, which is Bakugo pretty much now. And, yeah. So he's getting ready for Bakugo. And basically, Deku, when Bakugo and him step into the ring, Deku treats him like everyone else. He just uses his chains pretty much. He's holding back, and Bakugo doesn't like this. He's like, stop holding back. But Deku, is still pretty evenly matched. But Deku's more or less playing around with him. So Deku, he ends up then he ends up wrapping Bakugo in chains from the ground. He made them come up out of the ground, grab his legs. Deku then made another chain wrap around his arms. And then he basically wrapped him in chains up to his neck. Like, he is a mummy in chains, basically. Except his head is, fine. And he's like, what the fuck? Trying to blast out of there with his, explosion quirk. But, nope, it's not working, like, at all. Failed. But, yeah. So, that is that. So, yeah. So, yeah. Deku, he basically throws Bakugo out after, embarrassing him a bit. Like, bro, how'd you let yourself get caught by my chains? Even though, to be honest, Bakugo had no chance along with pretty much everyone else there. It would require, like, All Might level strength to break out of the chains, and that's only, like, under certain circumstances. Like, if he had him chained up as much as he had Bakugo, even All Might would probably have problems. Like, really. It's that strong. I'm making him overpowered. But he's going to be even more overpowered by the end of this. Alright? But, yeah. So, Deku, he's declared the winner. All Might gives out the awards and everything. Deku gets first, Bakugo second, and whoever you want to give third to gets third. Let's just say Ida and, I don't know, Bakugo, I guess. No, wait, no, Bakugo, he got, first. No, he got second, my bad. Let's just say, Tokoyami, I guess. Sure, why not? Or would it be Shoto and, whatever. It doesn't matter. So, yeah. Deku won. That's the main thing, alright? He won without showing off all of his skills. So, yeah. Deku's like, he celebrates with the rest of the class. They all go out to eat and, have a good time. And, yeah. They all celebrate. And, yeah. So they all celebrated, and, yeah. So, yeah. They celebrated, and Deku then went back and trained and slept and trained, basically. So they had, the weekend then, after that day, to do what they will. Deku just spent it training as per usual, because how would he be a beast without training? That's what Deku is gonna be by the end of this. So yeah, Deku's going to be training a lot, as per usual. He spends most of his time training. So yeah. Alright. Time skip another, 2 or 3 weeks. So, they're all, they're about to take a final test to see who can go to summer camp, and, who's forced to stay back and do remedial courses. That one event that I forget sometimes. I'm not sure how many times I forgot or remembered, but it's whatever. So yeah. Deku, he's trained, he's been training, so it's not even a question really for him. Yeah. And Deku, he's basically put it aside. He's like, it's like, we already know you're strong. Let's just not get a teacher beat up here. All right. Because really though, Deku, at this point, if you went all out, even All Might going all out, if they both went all out, it would be a difficult fight for both of them. But Deku would pull ahead slightly, I would say. But he's going to be much stronger by the end of this. Oh, wait until I give him the next form. It's going to be OP. You know, spoiler alert, but it's going to be OP. If you couldn't guess that. So yeah. Deku, he's like exempt from this, pretty much. Because, like, they don't want him fighting a teacher to beat them up. Like, seriously. It would require a team of teachers, and that just seems wrong. Because, like, what if the media got a hold of this? You know, one student's so powerful that they have to have multiple teachers, you know, fight them. See, they could be strewn two ways, so that's why. Because, like, oh my god, they have a powerful student, or oh my god, they have weak teachers. You know, you could look at it either way. And they don't want the media, you know, spinning it around. So, yeah. So, Deku and the group, they're all going around, and yeah. Well, Deku, he's like watching, basically. He's a spectator here. Alright, I'm sorry, but like, Aizawa, his quirk doesn't work on Deku, and literally no one else could even like fight him. Like, honestly. I'm just saying. So yeah. Deku's basically exempt from this, so I'm not gonna really cover it too much. I'm just saying, he's starting to be exempt from this. It's like, as I was like, you've already proven yourself, alright? So, you know, you can just sit out on this one and watch. So he did. And, yeah. If you're wondering about, you know, about the numbers, one group just had 3 people in it. So, yeah. Yeah. So, people past, Mina, I think, failed last time in canon. But she passed this time because, you know, Deku helped her a bit with training since she asked him. And, you know, he's a nice guy, so of course he'd say yes. So, yeah. So they're going to summer camp now, and yeah. So Deku and the group, they're like on the bus now. I'm just skipping the day because, like, what's he gonna do? Pack? That's not interesting, is it? I really don't think so. But you know, if you want me to include more of Deku packing for trips in my videos, you know, just let me know. But yeah. So Deku and the group, they all are on the bus now, and basically Deku, he decides to just sleep during this bus ride since there's literally no point to being awake for him. Cause like he could talk to people, but like he's tired, so let him sleep, man. Like all that training, he's got to be like ready for even more training too. So you know, sleep is the pre-training ritual. So yeah, Deku, he's getting ready to you know, he's almost, you know, gonna wake up soon, since, you know, Aizawa basically gave them a time, you know, like this is when we're gonna be there, roughly. And Deku, he has a pretty good, you know, basic clock, like in his head, basically. Like, you know how like you can wake up at a, like after enough times you can wake up at a certain time without an alarm. It's like that kind of, like he can basically set an alarm in his head to wake him up, you know, but not like not literally, but you know what I mean. So yeah. So he's pretty much ready to wake up, and they get there, and Deku wakes up. They all get out the bus, and Aizawa was like, so, here's the Wild Wild Pussycats. They're gonna be helping us train you, so yeah. Dang it. I want to say, it's, I don't know. I don't know her name. It's the blue one. I'm really sorry. I can never remember her friggin' name. But whatever. I can remember all three of the other ones, but I can't remember hers. But whatever. So basically, she basically uses her quirk. It's the blue one. And makes the cliff fall. And basically, everyone falls except Deku and Mina. Deku basically landed on his feet and caught Mina midair, and landed on his feet. And then put her down. Pretty much everyone else fell. A couple of them, landed. Like, Tokoyami, like, with help of Dark Shadow, like, it managed to break his fall. Tail Guy managed to use his tail. He managed to use his tail, and, yeah, that. But, yeah, that's pretty much that. So, that's pretty much what happened. So, Deku and, the gang are like, so what do we do now? But, Deku, he decides, you know what? They need this training a lot more than me. So Deku, like, he wants to test one of the thing's strengths, since he sensed a thing coming near them. So he shoots a chain out in that direction, and they're all like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing that for, bro? Like, and then the thing comes tumbling down, and they're like, what the fuck was that? And Deku's like, yep, as I thought. You guys have fun. Deku said, then changed into his form and started running to camp. Since, Aizawa did give him a nice, basic, direction to go in. So he's going off of that. So after that, Deku, he's basically running there, and he gets there. And he gets there before the teachers in the bus, since he can run faster than their car can move. Plus, the bus would be taking a longer route than, them. Technically speaking. So, yeah. Deku gets there in, like, 30 minutes time. And, he's, like, looking around the camp, like, alright, so that's where I'm going to be training. Picking out a spot to train and, all of that. He ends up coming across a kid named Dakota. And, yeah. So he comes across a kid named Dakota. If you watched MHA, you'd be familiar with it. And if you haven't, well, I don't know why you're watching this, but, you still can. But, yeah, basically a little kid. So, yeah. So, yeah. He's there, and he asks Deku what he's doing there. Deku said, I'm from 1A, and, all of that. And, Koda, by the way, Deku's still in his form at this point. Like, he just took it off. And, yes, he can talk in it. I know it may not look like it, because he has, like, that mask over his face in his first form. But he can. He doesn't usually, but, he can. So, yeah. So he switches back into his normal form like this. And, Koda asks what his quirk is. Deku says, hard to explain, but he can do a bunch of stuff. Deku then makes chains, for example, and he also makes flames, for example, out of another hand. It says, it's got multiple purposes. So yeah. Deku, he's like ready. He's like ready to train. He's like trying to think of he's got a couple spots he wants to choose which one to train at, and he's saying so. Coda, since they did introduce themselves, is there any good places to train around here? And Coda says, yeah, sure. There's one over there. Coda then walks Deku over to an area. It takes him about like 5 minutes since they're just walking. And they get there, and it's a very nice place to train. Good open field. Some trees not super far away, but not super close. So, if you wanted to, you could train in a lightly wooded area, heavily wooded area, or just, flat ground. And Deku's like, thanks. And he starts, thinking of what he should train. And Kodo asks if he can watch Deku train. Deku nods, and he decides to train his physical abilities. Since, he is like part demon now, so he's like let's take All Might. He's already at he's like 40% All Might like strength here. Alright, he's not All Might strength, like straight up from that. Since let me give you something. A demon, like a normal demon's strength, would be around half of All Might. Since All Might, he's only physical, really. But a demon, a high-ranking demon, which is what Deku would basically be classified as, or in his case, half high-ranking demon, they have skills or some abilities that could help them. Something other than just raw physical strength. So, yeah. Anyways, since that tangent's done, let's continue. So, Deku said Kodo can watch him train, and yeah. So, Deku looks around, and he sees a boulder, and he thinks, that'll work. So, he picks up the bolt. So, he goes over, and he uses his chains to pick up the boulder, and he wraps the thing in chains and crushes it a bit, basically condensing it like a fucking lot. Alright? A lot. So yeah. Deku, it's now it's like the size of maybe think of a PC, and think of like two or three of those, and it's like that size, and it's like more round. Alright? Maybe like a yoga ball size, I guess. Sure, like the size of a yoga ball. Alright? And it's like that big now. And Koda's like, wow. And Deku then picks up the thing and, he's basically doing some basic physical exercise with it. Running around with it on his back, using the chains to hold it on his back, so he can, still run with it. Couple things. He ends up condensing it a bit smaller, since it is a bit annoying. Just a little bit, like 10-20% smaller. And Koda's like, wow, like really impressed. And he asked how heavy the thing was, and Deku says, well, judging from how much it slows me down, I'd say anywhere from 2 to 10 tons. And Kodo was like shocked. And like, wow, it's like he's strong as fuck and he's fast. And by the way, Deku did take a break for lunch with Koda, and they ate, just some basic stuff. And at this point, Aizawa and the rest have just gotten there. It took them like 3 hours or 4 hours to get there. Since like the bus, it took a lot longer to go from the road to there. Plus, the bus isn't super fast, and they had supervised a little bit of the other kids. So yeah. Actually, it only took them 3 hours. 4 hours is a bit much, but yeah. So yeah, Deku and the rest of so they're all there, and they end up watching Deku train. Because they were looking for Koda, because they wanted to introduce Vlad King and Aizawa to him. Since, it's, he doesn't really like meeting strangers randomly a ton. But, so yeah. And Deku, they end up catching Deku training and Koda watching. And they're like, holy shit, Aizawa, like, what did you do to this kid? He is just, holy shit, Because, holy shit, yeah, he is, like, very OP. And, they see Koda watching, and Aizawa walks up to Koda and asks how long he's been at this. And Koda says, since lunch. So about 2 hours. And they're like shocked, but they're like, alright, so that's that. Aizawa was a little less shocked than everyone else, since Deku is his student. And that wouldn't be super surprising now, would it? Like, Deku, I mean, Deku is just Deku, he's built different. Am I wrong? No. Anyways. So, Deku, he's been training, and now, basically, it's almost dinner time, and people are getting ready to cook, and Deku ends up helping cooking. And about then, the rest of the students started walking into from the forest. All of them are rugged and tired. And then they have Deku to greet them. Welcome back. And a couple of them start yelling at Deku. Mina charges at him and, yelling at him. Like, bro, why the fuck did you leave me there? And Deku was like, well, you need the training. And, she's like, so do you. Like, why do you get to skip out? And, like, Deku's like, no, I didn't. I just did it faster than all of you. And, a couple of them are annoyed, but can't really say anything because he's right. So, like, what are you going to do about it? So, just got to deal with that because it's facts. So, yeah. So, yeah. Deku, he's like, alright, come at me, people. Like, you want to, like, fight about this? Or, like, what? You want to fight or you want to eat dinner? And all of them choose dinner. Because, after hours of fighting your way to a camp, you want to eat something. Which makes sense, right? So, they all eat. And then go to bed. And, yeah. The next morning, people are getting, trained. They're organizing who's getting trained by, which teacher. And, what they should do for their training. Deku, he's doing physical things, and he's basically left alone since he is already stronger than pretty much all of them. But it's like good work, Deku. That's pretty much what they're doing. And Koda's basically watching Deku train. And Deku's basically training his first form mostly, and his fire control. He's like making stuff out of it and everything. Like, I don't know, random stuff. He's able to make random shit out of it, out of fire now. Like, say he wants to make, say, a lion or something out of it. He could. It'd be a bit difficult, but he could make it move and attack. He's practicing to make a dragon now. Because wouldn't it be cool to make a fucking fire dragon breathe fire? Like, by fire dragon, I mean it's made out of fire. Wouldn't that be cool? And hella intimidating if you were his enemy. He's also capable of making his flames blue now, which he has tested. If he tries. But, he doesn't typically do that since it's just more effort and he doesn't really need to cremate anyone. Because, like, blue fire, like Dobby level fire, it's already at the point where it's burning shit. It's burning people who have flame quirks, like resistance to flames. Like, yeah, it's not pretty. And, yeah. He doesn't really need to use that since he's planning on being a hero, and, yeah. He doesn't really need to basically permanently injure someone with, like, 4th or 5th degree burns. And if you don't know what those are, it's basically just worse burns, alright? Like, most people know 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's like charring to the bone at this point, alright? That's what a 5th degree burn is, pretty much. I don't remember exactly, but it's something like that, alright? It's along those lines. So he can do that, but he doesn't have to. And, yeah. So, everything's fine, and, training goes well. And I'm going to cover the test of courage and that fun event that no one saw coming. I'll cover that next part. And then I'll probably make one more part after that. And this should end by the 5th part, or 6th part, probably. So, for now, I'm going to put on pause what if Deku was quirkless? Basically, because no one's really watching that. So, like, if I even get one person who comments, who takes the time to comment and say, I want to watch this, then I will continue it. But until that time, I'm not going to, because I want to focus on finishing up this one, continuing the zombie one, because that one's really fun for me to make, and, yeah. So I'm going to go post this. It's a bit shorter than my normal ones, but I don't really want to start another arc to make this one super long, or longer than normal. Thank you for listening to this. Sorry if I sound a bit congested. Sorry that it took like 2 weeks to make the next part, but we're not going to talk about that, so yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Next part, no guarantees on when it's going to happen, just that it will. So,